Want to party? Oh la la. Am I sexy? Real know. Follow me and you will know. Am I sexy? Real know. Follow me and you will know.
Oops.
Well, welcome back everybody to the Life Lesson Station, coming live from Alberta. My name is Dana, and today joining me, we have beekeeper extraordinaire, Hank Roy. Please welcome Hank to the show. Welcome to the show, Hank. Do you have your earbuds in?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if you heard me, but I said I danced the camera right off my tripod.
Oh, yeah, that was so funny. So Hank gave us a huge surprise today, and she threw on her bee suit and did the wiggle dance, right? The bee dance, Hank?
Well, it was a pretty poor imitation thereof, but yes.
Hey, you did awesome. I mean, you did some dancing, and I had to deal with the earbuds and taking off the uniform and the phone, and we made it happen.
I didn't dance that much at my own wedding, for crying out loud.
There you go. So today we're having
Thanks for having me, Dana.
Oh, well, you're welcome. And thank you for coming on the show. And I was really excited to have you because I've known you for a while, and you're one of the people that I can talk bees about, because I had the pleasure of being a beekeeper for about 5 years, and I would like to get back into it when life permits. And when I met you at this bee function, I was like, wow, this person loves bees like I do. And we were like totally geeking out on bees, and I thought that was super fun. So
fast friends. Yep.
Yeah, we've been friends since, and here we go. And I just showing a quote from Hank on the screen. It says, "I want to make my life a living example of the principles I believe in." Hank Roy. Absolutely. Beautiful.
And want, I should probably change that word to strive, because wanting and actively trying to attain it is completely different.
That's true. So striving for that. Awesome. So, okay, well, if you're ready, Hank, we'll get started with a quick intro so people get to know you.
Sure.
Okay.
1 second here. Let's see if I can just adjust this one last time.
I want to say hello, everybody in the chat room. Thank you for coming on the show.
Hi, folks. Whoever you are.
Hi. So here's, we have a nice comment from Chantal, and here we go. So he says, probably know by now how much Dana is into bees. She's the bee queen. We have 2 queens today.
At least 2.
Oh, yes. Okay, so we'll get started on the intro. So while most people are aware that honeybees need our help to survive and flourish here in Canada, there are also more than 800 species of bees native to Canada that also need our attention and protection. Do you like eating food and staying alive? Well, thank the bees for that. Pursuing an innate curiosity of Earth's creature, Hank graduate thesis from NATE's photography technology program in 2002 focused on close-up of insects and other creatures living in the Provincial Museum of Alberta Museum's bug room. Through the decades to follow, Hank worked as a photographic technician at the Provincial Archives of Alberta, an apprentice stonemason, a medical office assistant in a cats-only vet clinic, and a care aide for quadriplegics and seniors, first aid attendant, and camp cook at various remote locations across northern Canada. Also, she was a hydraulistic valve tester and so much more.
Yes, I called myself a bouncer because I bounced from job to job.
Yes. However, Hank's heart couldn't help but to be drawn back to the beloved bugs, and so began the unexpected but welcome change of path, beekeeping.
Absolutely.
Yes, and fulfilling a passion and inner desire to become a beekeeper has led Hank to excitedly encourage others to also experience personal growth and self-love by safely stepping out of their comfort zone and engaging in the collective understanding that everyone deserves to create their own version of a simple, humble, comfortable, and healthy and joyful life. And yes, life is more fun with bees, right, Hank?
Yes, of course. How did I live without them before?
Okay, one more quick paragraph, and then we'll get started with the chat.
Oop, that'll give
Okay.
me time to fix this darn thing again.
So Hank was born and raised in Alberta, and
Correct.
went exploring and returned after many adventures, and currently lives in Edmonton again, enjoying life with Brian, Oliver the cat, and way too many houseplants.
Those plants.
In addition to eagerly sharing the benefits of lifelong learning and continuous curiosity, Hank enjoys cooking, gardening, stand-up comedy, archery, cats, family gatherings at grandma's house, and spending as much time as possible watching bees and daydreaming and doing nothing but breathing the sweet air of life. Thank you, Hank, for all you do, for all your contribution to make this world a better place for us and the bees. Welcome to the show.
That's a heck of an intro there, Dana.
Woo! Okay, you take over.
And I should probably clarify when I say stand-up comedy, that's watching it, not doing it.
Not yet, right?
Oh, let's see how this goes. Easy now. We're only 5 minutes in.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll get started with some questions. And everybody in the chat room, if you have some question for Hanks, please feel free to share in the comment section. Okay, so my first question for you, Hank, is, did you always love bees? And tell me how you got into beekeeping.
Well, I wasn't always into bees. In fact, I used to be deathly afraid of most insects, as most kids are. In fact, I was very arachnophobic. It was pretty bad. But then at one point in my life, I suffered a little bit of a trauma. And then suddenly, I guess my mind thought, you have better things to worry about than spiders. So just like that, I was cured of my spider phobia. And then gradually got more into insects. And as you know, I like photographing, or macro photography, close-ups of bugs. And then after I said I was a bouncer and bounced from job to job for a while, I thought, this isn't working. What would I do if I was retired? And I thought, well, I'd probably just sit around my garden looking at the bugs. So I thought, well, why can't I do that now? And I decided to make a big change. And I took some courses and went for it. And apparently now I'm a beekeeper and loving it.
The world need more beekeepers, so I'm glad you won. And that's why we're here today, folks, is to tell you how important the bees are for our survival, and that everyone can be a beekeeper like us and just fall in love with these little pollinators. They're amazing, right?
Oh, I love those little beezers. I could watch them all day. And I love how when they're flying, honeybees anyway, they just kind of dangle their legs, cruise around. They look so calm.
Oh, I know. Especially when they have a lot of pollen on their little pollen sac on their leg.
They look like pollen pants.
Yeah, like MC Hammer. Can't touch this, and they're like super cute. Hey?
Google pollen pants. There are so many cute pictures. Yeah.
And then you like feet too. Like you went through a phase where you like little
bee toes.
Bee toes, yes. I never noticed before until you pointed out. Look how cute their toes are. So, can you share with the audience some of your favorite experiences with bees?
That's a good question, because every experience I have is good, either whether or not I get stung. But I think most of my happiness comes when I'm either teaching people about bees or by myself with them.
Okay.
Because it's a very zen experience, beekeeping, I find. It's very peaceful. And just the sound of happy bees. And every time I get stung, I sleep so well that night. I don't know if it's because of the sting, but maybe it's just because I was outside in the fresh air enjoying life.
Yeah.
Was that the question?
Well, yeah. And I just wanted to add a little comment that they found that farmers that have bees that get stung a lot, they don't get arthritis. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So
bee sting therapy is quite used for that.
Yeah, they call it. I think they call it bee venom therapy. But anyway, so that's another tangent. But
well, they're also in the States. I forgot where now, but people who are out of work, like miners and prisoners and that, they're reteaching them beekeeping, so that you'll still have a job and a purpose to your life and help the planet. So I think that's great to take people who don't know what to do with themselves, like I usually am, and show them, like, try something new.
Yeah, I mean, this is the perfect time to learn about beekeeping, especially during COVID. There's online courses and educate yourself. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful skill to have, a second career or hobby, and you're helping the planet. And Chantal was asking, Hank, what is your favorite thing about bees?
Their underestimated importance.
Mm.
Really looking out for the little guy, so to speak. I don't think people, and when I say bees, like I love all bees, not just the honeybee, right? Because that's not native to Canada in the first place. But Canada has over 800 species of bees. So I like their diversity as well. The fact that a third of Canada's bees are mining bees. And there's digger bees, bees that live in the ground, bumblebees live in nests on the ground. And once you figure out what's a bee and a wasp or a hornet, you'll be much more comfortable.
Absolutely.
And bumblebees, oh, they're so awesome. You can pet them. They won't sting.
And yeah, the bumblebees don't sting, and they're the perfect for greenhouses. They try to always encourage bumblebees because bumblebees found their way out of the greenhouses. So it's good for pollination in the greenhouses. Yeah.
And you need bumblebees and a diversity of bees because honeybees pollinate differently with their little proboscis. They go in and get the pollen in their pants. But bumblebees, that's why I think they're called bumble or buzz, because they do that they buzz in there, and that's how the pollen gets on them. They don't necessarily put it in their little pockets.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If one plant can't be pollinated by a honeybee, perhaps a mining bee or a bumblebee. My favorite bee in the world is, I don't even know if I'm saying it properly, Agapostemon texanus. It's the metallic green sweat bee. It's tiny, 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 and you probably don't notice it, but we do have it in Alberta, and it's beautiful.
Oh, I've seen the video with the yellow flowers, right? Like,
yeah,
they are gorgeous. Yeah, that's interesting. That's your favorite one. And we have another question for you in the audience.
Absolutely.
They're asking, what would you recommend for people that are afraid of bees? What would you say to them?
Knowledge. The more you learn, the less afraid you'll be. Because I find that a fear of, anything in life usually comes from not knowing enough about it. The fear of the unknown. So once you learn about, for example, bumblebees, I said you can pet them. And you'll see people on the internet giving a bumblebee a high five. Well, once you realize that bumblebee is saying, back off, you can understand the bees and their language. So when you see a honeybee, for example, doing a specific movement, you might think, oh, they're coming to get me. But really, they're doing something. Bees don't care about you. Sorry to tell you. The humans are here to help them. They already know what to do. They've been doing it for thousands of years. So all these tools and products we have, it's more to help the beekeeper help the bees.
Yes. And just remember, everybody at home, that honeybees are vegetarian. So when you're having your picnic and your bologna sandwich, these are the wasps that come for a visit, not the bees. Bees, they're vegetarian. They don't want your sandwich. So just teach that to your kids and stay calm.
Your iced tea, however, look out.
Yeah. So thank you so much for the great question in the audience. And thank you, Hank, for all your great answers. And
I encourage people to ask me more afterwards as well, because as you know, when you're on the spot, it might not all come to you, but I do love talking. So
yes, people, whoever watched the video now or whoever watch it later, please feel free to type any questions you have for Hank in the comment section, and Hank will go back and visit and try to answer your questions. So that's a great point. Thank you for that.
If you have specific questions too, I can send you specific information like links and info.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, anything we could do to help the bees, we're there.
And maybe this is a good segue, but it's not just all about the bees when you think of pollination. Don't forget the butterflies and all the other creatures too. So, and I hate to say it, but if Apis mellifera, the European honeybee that we brought in, if it went extinct, don't forget, I'm sorry to say, but there's a lot of other pollinators that need our help too. So we won't be completely out of luck if we lost the honeybee. And the only reason I say that is because they're not native to Canada, it's very hard to get them through the winter.
Yes.
They're not used to our climate.
Yes.
So that's why they need our help more so than other pollinators. Not that they're more important, but they're just a little bit more fragile.
Absolutely. Well, that's the segue to my next questions, because you had over the years the pleasure or the opportunity to work with to meet so many beekeepers. And what are some of the benefits and some of the struggles for beekeepers? I think you just mentioned the winter kill, but is there anything else that people should know?
Well, I mean, if they are a beekeeper already,
or people who are considering becoming a beekeeper, what are some of the benefits and some of the struggles?
The benefits of being a beekeeper, of course, is, like I said, there's a mental peacefulness that comes from knowing that you're helping part of the world. And it also feels really good to, oh, it's hard to explain. When you're helping the bees, you feel so good that it's hard not to think of them as like your little bees or pets. So if you do go into winter and say you have 3 hives and 2 die, which can happen easily, it's like your little family. You care so much.
Yeah.
But in order to get over that, someone had to explain to me, as in Star Trek terms, honeybees are like Borg. They're just an entity. They're a complete structure. They're there's a word for it too. But yeah, they're one little ecosystem kind of within themselves.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I blanked on what I was going to say. Shoot.
That's okay. Well, they're really important to
remind me.
And just while you think about it, we have another question for you. Is
please.
How do you relate life to bees?
That's what I was saying about them being Borg. Yeah, because they're like a hive mind. That's where the term comes from. Like, so.
Working as a collective, like we could learn from the bees.
Collective. Yes, absolutely.
Work together, people. We could be our own hive. Like, do you see all these 50,000 sisters fighting in the hive? No, they all get along. They all work together for a common goal, right? We could learn.
And absolutely, because the other thing I admire about bees, they do take care of each other. Right from the moment they come out of their cell, they turn around, clean their room, then they go help the other baby bees, then they have other jobs as they grow in life, and they're a guard bee and take care of the queen. And when you see a foraging bee out and about, it's a she. Always say she, because only the she's leave the hive, unless it's a drone, and that's a whole other story. That's sad. But they collectively take care of the queen. And if you think of the queen as Earth or society, humanity, then you know your job. You should know your job like a bee. Okay, this is what I'm doing now. I got to take care of my young, and this is what I'm doing now. I got to go to work, and this is what I do later. And it's so beautiful when you see the foragers, because sometimes their wings are a bit damaged and that, but they're old. You have to be to be the forager bee, you got to be an expert bee. Yeah. And I like that because they've worked for that. They weren't just born into it.
Yeah, so like the bee culture, it's more service to the collective as opposed to service to self. Like they work for the...
Absolutely. Yeah, there is no self.
There you go. We can learn from that and have more like a collective helping others mentality. That would be great, right? Mm-hmm. So you did some school presentation with the little kids before. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, kids are my fave to teach.
I know, they're cute.
They just suck up information. There's no bad questions. And I like teaching children because they ask, why do the bees do that? How do the bees do that? And adults tend to say, well, how much is that going to cost? And is it really, really hard? What am I going to get out of it in the end? But kids just want to know because they want to know. Yes. So it's really easy to get them all geared up and enthused about bees. And in teaching with children too, it's more interactive, which I like. I don't, not that I'm not having fun here, Dana, but I do like to be in person. But I can get excited and say, you can have them feel this honeycomb, feel this, see this, and it's right in their face.
Smell
and
it.
Then they're not scared.
Aww.
They'll go home and say, hey, Mom, there's a bee. Not, oh, God, there's a bee.
Yes. Oh, I'm glad you got to do that. And
they're so sweet. And then they really make you think of questions that you wouldn't have thought to ask. Like, like, do bees see in color? I'm like, wow, that's a good question. Yeah. It's something so basic that I've overlooked because they have such a, different perspective.
So that's awesome. Thank you for that. And can anybody become a beekeeper? Can you tell me, like, we're from the Edmonton, Alberta area. How do you become a beekeeper? Can you have bees in the city?
I can make anyone a beekeeper, or at least get you interested. Yes, if you want to become a beekeeper and you're at square one, the first thing to do is knowledge. Take a course. Now, to be a beekeeper within the city of Edmonton, you do need to have a 2-day course certificate showing that you graduated from this course. If you're rural, you don't need the 2-day course, but I would highly recommend it. And this book, Beekeeping in Western Canada, is pretty much, they say, like the Bible for Western Canada. But it really is a great start because obviously, if you're not from Alberta, the timelines won't apply for seasonal things, but the knowledge is still there. Beekeeping is beekeeping. This is what they do. This is what to expect. And then, of course, if you're going to keep bees within the city, you're going to have to get the permit. There, you go to the bylaw website there and fill it out if you're within the city. If you're not, you don't have to do that. But either way, you still need to register with the province and get your provincial identification number, because bees are livestock. People forget that a lot as well. It's not a pet. It's not something you can just, oh, I'll go out there in 2 weeks and see how they're doing. So yeah, if you're rural or urban, you've got to register with the province. And it's a good idea because if there is an outbreak of disease, they know where it is and where to quarantine, because that's another huge issue with beekeeping, is not just having them survive the winter, but pests. Varroa mite
Pest control
is the hugest thing. Yeah, you got to have a good integrated pest management system.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
this might sound really complicated right now, but basically it's the same as saying, check if your bees have a cold, and if they have a cold, fix it. But you would never treat before testing, right? Because then they build up resistance to these medications like we would with antibiotics. So once you know, again, once you know what you're doing, then for me anyway, every time I learn a fact, I have 3 more questions. So after you read this book, if you're like me, you'll probably go out and buy 5 more books about bees. Yes. And then that one book will talk about the green sweat bee, and then you're off on this and you're off on that. And it's just a whole new world that opens up when you start to, like you said, step out of your comfort zone. You don't grow unless you challenge yourself. So that's awesome. And so before we start with some pictures, I wanted to ask you, what can we do to help the bees? Can you tell me some of your ideas that what people can do to help the bees, because they need our help? Well, pesticides, of course. If, for example, you're a beekeeper in Alberta and you know you have farmland next to you, talk with them and know when they're going to be using pesticides that you can prevent your bees from getting ill. Of course, planting pollinator gardens is great because you're helping not only the bees, like I said, but other bees, other butterflies and such like that. To help the bees as well, buy local. Buy local. Yes. Because it doesn't just help the people, that helps the bees because they get a job. And if people want honey in your area and you're making the honey, you're also having successful bees. And like, the honey isn't for us. You have to remember, honeybees aren't making honey for us. They don't even know we exist, really. So the fact that we're harvesting honey, we're taking away their winter storage of food. Yes. But if there's excess, that's when we harvest. So if there's excess, keep harvesting because they'll keep making it and thriving and pollinating and growing. So a good way that I see it is just like you give them the house, you give them all the nice comforts, but you just take a little bit of rent, right? So take a little bit of honey. If they have it available. Only if they have it available. Yeah, you got to make sure the bees are taken care of first. So and it's not just, again, if you're getting into beekeeping, it's not just for honey, perhaps, because honestly, I don't really like honey. It's a little too sweet for me. But other people might want the pollen for health benefits. Of course, you can harvest just the pollen. Maybe you're into making candles and soaps, so you want the beeswax. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that bees give us that we forget about. Yes. Well, that's great. So we'll come back about the bees, but now everybody, I would like you to meet Hank and show you some of her life experience, where she comes from, so you get to know. This does go really fast. I know, it's already at 25 minutes. 26. Yeah. So now we're just going to look at a few pictures. And so the first one I have is, before you speak, think. Can you tell me about that? I was visiting someone in the hospital, and as I walked through a hallway, that was a poster they had in the hall. And I read it, and it stopped me in my tracks, because it made me think. And always think before you speak, especially with little kids and or
Yes.
seniors, because the world is just a little bit more poignant for them, it seems. And don't talk down to kids ever, or well, anyone really. Just treat everyone
Yes.
as if they're a genius until they prove you otherwise. Because otherwise you're stealing someone's self-confidence, and we all need more.
Yeah. Very good. So this is you growing up with your family, and
Oh yeah.
that's you right here, right? The little blonde. Look how cute. And Hank, you have a younger brother, right? Here.
Yes. Yeah.
And a beautiful family, and that's you growing up. Can you pick her up in the photo, people in the audience? No.
Oh dear.
So it's this nice smiley one over there.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. Good grief.
yeah. So so you got to work up north, and
Yeah.
I wrote it down. You work at Northern Ontario, Fort Simpson, Banks Island, and Rank Inlet.
Yeah,
And
and then there was Webequie, Ontario, and a couple other little jobs in between that have blurred into the past now.
Yeah, and this was your exploration camp where you were mining for gold, right? And you were
That's
working.
cool, yeah.
Yeah, you were working here as a safety first aid / cook.
Yep. That was so fun. I don't know. I never thought I would miss these kind of jobs because it was cold, it was hard living, but I do miss it. I miss the people too.
Yes, I bet. So this was your quarters, very fancy. And tell me about how you like taking pictures. Tell me about that. It's funny.
Yeah, I mean, this is a beautiful sunrise or sunset, can't remember. And I wanted to take a photo of it, but of course, other people had the same idea. And I just, for some reason, love taking pictures of people taking pictures. Because you can, well, I love people watching, but you can see them like adjusting and thinking, and they seem really calm, and you just sort of get into what they're getting into.
I just think it's cool. You take pictures of people taking pictures. And that's you on an iceberg.
Well,
no
that's what
shoes.
Us prairie folk would think is an iceberg. It's really like an ice pan, I suppose. But yeah, no shoes. I'm really good at wearing no shoes on cold surfaces. I think I get that from my dad. He used to take the garbage out in bare feet. So.
That's funny.
Well, this is me not flying a helicopter, but riding in one.
Yes, looking cool. Oh yeah, and that's the day you were stuck up north, right?
In Fort Simpson, yeah. Well, a day, about a week, yeah. And that again is something I really liked about working up north, is meeting other people. And when something like this happens and you're trapped together for you don't know how long till the chopper can get out, you really all that extra stuff of being human is kind of cut away, and you're left with 10 people who may or may not die. So it really makes you more alert about how we're all the same on the same planet. Oh God, mukta.
Yeah.
Raw narwhal, gross. I don't recommend it. John loves it.
Oh yeah, so that's where you were trying to eat the, what do you call it? Sorry, what was that whale?
They call it mukta, and it's raw narwhal, like the whale, the unicorn whale.
Yeah. So
and it was just, it didn't taste bad, but my teeth aren't made for it. I just couldn't chew it. And then there's me, just to say I did it. I'm swimming in the Arctic Ocean out in that was by Rankin Inlet. And I learned the lesson I learned that day, even as the first aid attendant, was, wow, does hypothermia sneak up on you? I was maybe in there for 2 minutes, but it took me all afternoon to warm up. I kept getting colder and colder instead of warmer. But,
wow, all afternoon. That's crazy. And that's a beautiful picture you took, eh? Hank took that picture.
-52 that day.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It was just north of Yellowknife, kind of by, was it Pico Bay or Caddy mine site there?
Oh.
But after -35, it doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah, but you said that mining season was from March to October, right? Something like that?
Generally, yeah.
And tell me about...
depending where, when, but
So
my little dogs.
Yeah, she likes, she takes on stray dogs. She was the cook, right? So what did you do here?
So these are just like wild dogs that were on this little island that we were at. Yeah, and then you start with 1, 2. Hey, you're the cook. You smell good. So they come over. I feed them. All of a sudden, there's too many dogs. Then all of a sudden, those dogs went underneath the kitchen and ripped up all the insulation from the pipes to make up their own little warm house.
Yeah.
So our pipes froze. and it's my fault that the pipes froze. So then I had to melt snow to cook, and I was in trouble. And they said, if you just don't stop feeding these dogs,
Oh,
the
geez.
helicopter's coming. Oh, and a polar bear from Banks Island.
Yes, and look at this,
Much-
guys. Look at the size of the bear paws. So you said something like it was double your hand size? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. Like the
Yeah.
back pad was enormous.
Oh man. So that was a cute story how those people in their smiles. What we were
Oh yeah, this is me again in my Camp Cook outfit, and it's the guys that were patrolling for polar bears and wolves, and they would scare them away with rubber bullets if need be.
Yes.
But they're just so serious, and I'm not sure if it's these people in particular or their culture, but I was trying to get them to smile, don't be so. And then I think it's the guy on the far right who has this cutest little smirk. I don't know.
Oh yeah. You look I love that picture. It looks pretty cool. Like, and this is Brian.
And me and my sweetie Brian. Yep. My
there
husband.
he is. Yes. And so now we're going to have a few photos of people in your life. So there's Brian. And then this is
my brother, Kevin.
Your brother, Kevin.
Yep.
And then this is.
Yep. My other lifelong buddy, Russ.
Yes.
And this was us at the children's entertainer, Raffi. Down by the bay. You brush your teeth. I don't know. A lot of people might know, may not. But I don't have any children in my life of my own.
Yeah.
So I had no kids to borrow to go to this event. And I had no excuse to go to a kids show except Russ. Russ and I will do almost anything for fun. So we were there singing songs by ourselves. Oh no, that's good. That's Oliver.
Oh, that's cute. I'm glad you have
and
him
in your life. Biz.
I'm surprised. Like your cat usually makes noise as we talk, so he's kind of quiet. You must have put some treats out.
I did. I hid them in the other room, so he won't be here meowing incessantly.
Yeah, it's working. So
that's the first cat I ever had, and me working at the cat-only vet clinic that you spoke of. Yeah, and this guy's name was Shizuka Urashi, but yeah, he went by Mr. Fu.
Yeah, super cute. Then they got a custom tattoo.
Yes. LFC rule was put in his ear as an identification tattoo instead of your usual numbers because I love Liverpool Football Club. So that was his custom tattoo.
Shout out to your favorite team. Shout out. Huh?
Liverpool. We won the Premiership this year, so
nice.
Oh, and this is Grandma and Mr. Fu. I just love this picture. They both look so peaceful and happy.
I know.
And Grandma's still with us, 94.
Oh, she's awesome. Okay, this one you have to share the story.
Okay. Well, this is just me and some neighborhood kids, and I happen to have, as you do, an old skateboard lying around. And I thought I'm going to give them to these kids, but I was showing them that you should appreciate this because all the girls, I guess, in Afghanistan and other countries aren't allowed to ride bikes. But for some reason, they're allowed to skateboard. So skateboarding has really caught on with some of the AfghaniSkateGirls.com. Is that the one? I can't remember. There's lots of articles about how good they are at skating now. And like the boys can ride the bike.
It's crazy, hey? They still have.
And they were stunned. These kids, I guess, had never really thought about unfairness before. Kind of. They were just, I can't believe this. And I'm going to go tell my other girlfriends. Can you believe this?
Yeah. So girls are not allowed to ride bikes.
Weren't, at least when this.
Word. Okay. So hopefully things have changed. So now we're going to go with a few bee pictures. So this you checking a hive?
Yes. And we'll go ahead and make your comments about the PPE, personal protective equipment that I am not wearing. Wear the full suit, especially if you're a new beekeeper. Get the full suit, get the gloves.
Yes.
It gives you so much more confidence. You'll relax around them, not worrying about me. Oh my God, are these going to get me through my jeans? And gloves.
Please listen to this. This is really important. I agree with that. Get yourself a good bee suit. Get covered from top to bottom. You'll have a much better experience. Okay?
Absolutely.
Do it.
And always have an EpiPen. Just because you're not allergic doesn't mean that someone like these kids that I brought to the yard to see the bees, I don't know if they're allergic or not. So best to have an EpiPen.
Okay, so that's good to know. I never.
That was my cousin's family and her little kids, and this guy was just too curious to hold still. Couldn't keep his shoes on. Wanted to touch every bee. because I showed them at first. And in fact, my cousin, who's in that previous picture, was very afraid of bees. And now she's not because she knows. And now she has mason bees.
Oh, goodness. So this is a nice shot that you took there of the girls at the entrance. Hey, that's
I
really
believe so,
busy.
yeah.
Wow.
I think it was a hot day.
Oh yeah.
There's
Who's
grandma
that?
in my beekeeping suit. That's grandma in her house.
Hey.
Love the wallpaper.
Hi, grandma.
But she's as fun as that must be where I get my sense of adventure, because when she was 83 years old and still riding around on a scooter with my friends, and she'll go to the bee yard with me, and she's just full of adventure. Live
Oh,
life.
my gosh.
Don't just wait.
There you go. So, friends, we would like to encourage you to do what you can to help the bees and consider becoming a beekeeper, because it's a wonderful hobby. And also, I would like to personally invite you to bombard me with solutions how you can help bees. Shout out to Jan. She always helps me find really cool articles on how to help the bees. But please write all your questions. And if you have solution-based ideas, we're always open. There's so many great things out there on the planet happening to help the bees. So we have to be part of the Plan B to help the girls. And Hank, is there any departing words that you would like to say?
Not really. Just step out of your comfort zone. Grow.
Yes.
Enjoy life. It is shorter than you think. And learn to be wrong. As you're learning and growing, you will make mistakes. You'll be wrong. My hive this year isn't going to make it probably because I made a rookie mistake. And that's okay, because now I won't do that again. So don't be afraid to be wrong.
Okay. Well, on that note, Hank, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show. I could have spent another 3 hours with you easily, but
I know.
It's just
but that's hopefully why people will get in touch with me afterwards, because
yes. So
everything I said, I have more to expand on, right?
Absolutely. She's a SHME subject expert matter, something like that, a SHME. And then if you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see her email address. So you can reach out to Hank there. And we want to thank everybody for coming and watch the show. And love the bees, save the bees. And Hank, you rock, and your dance at the beginning was awesome. And I can't wait to watch the replay. I love you guys. Thank you for watching the show. And then we will see you next time. I will announce the next show soon where we're going to be discussing mental health. So thank you for watching. And Hank, if you stand by, I'll talk to you after the show, okay? Bye, everybody. Have a great week.
Thanks again. Bye, guys.
Bye.